Bill Murray has a question.
Hey, Zach, Steed, hey, Oteil.
What's up, dude? Oh my God, I recognize you.
Yeah. How
You're
are you?
looking good.
Yeah, thanks. You too. So Kelly, my wife, is with me. We've been to, I don't know how many Dead and Company shows, but we started with Playing in the Sand. Well, that ain't where we started, but we did do our honeymoon there.
Nice.
But one of the great honors and privileges of my life is when you played bass with the Steed Brothers to open for Ralph Stanley.
Woo! Dr. Ralph.
Dr.
Stanley. I got him to sign my banjo.
Yeah.
You put Doctor on there. I was like,
You should have. These folks should have seen the bluegrass great of that made up his band watching you from this side stage. They'd never seen anything like it. But it made me think about, maybe a lot of these people don't know about your time in Atlanta with Matt Mundy and Jeff Mosier and your affinity for bluegrass and your hobby of playing bluegrass. And also, are you still playing banjo?
Yes.
And are you getting an opportunity to play any hardcore bluegrass?
Well, sometimes it's rare. I do more of it on stage with Dead and Company. Like when we do Cumberland Blues, that's all bluegrass to me. That's how I approach it, And I lived in Birmingham, Alabama also for 18 years. So my time there and in Atlanta, the first bluegrass players I ever saw was Matt Mundy and Scott Vestal on banjo. Mark Mundy was on guitar. These are like the baddest bluegrass players alive. And so my mouth was hanging open. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I didn't really know anything about the music, but I know extremely high level of musicianship when I see and hear it. And this was just off the scale, And then, of course, Mosier turned me on to Bela Fleck, who my old friends Victor and Roy Wooten were playing with at the time. And Reverend Mosier, I lived with him in 1988, and he's the one that really took me down the bluegrass rabbit hole, and where I learned the history. And he had a radio show called Born in a Barn where they would come play bluegrass live on the radio.
I played that with him.
Yeah. And so he would take me to these bluegrass festivals. I'd be like the first black guy to ever play there, and I learned these fiddle tunes. So fiddle tunes reminded me of bebop jazz songs because they're like, and I was like, well, I should learn that. Well, nobody ever seen people play fiddle tunes on the bass before, and so Mosier, I'm not even thinking that much. I'm just thinking this will be cool. He starts taking me around just to mess with people, and we had so much fun. And he's the one that told me, he was like, you're supposed to play banjo. This is your instrument. I was like, what do you mean it's my instrument? I'm 24 or 5. I know nothing about it. He was like, black people, it's your instrument. I was like, what on earth are you talking about? He said, banjo comes from Africa. I was like, what? And if you watch the documentary that Bela did called Throw Down Your Heart, he goes to the countries in Africa where banjo originated and jams with them. And so it was like, really, and that's why when Jess, my wife, and I first got married, she moved to Africa to work with mountain gorillas for a whole year, the first year we were married. She split. And I was so depressed, I picked up her banjo. And it was Jerry, who I thought, man, he got so good on it, maybe I can do it. I didn't know it was his first instrument. But I listened to Olden in the Way. I love that stuff so much, and got to play with Vestal and Spirit of Swanee and all stuff.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just try to do this. I have all this time on my hands, and that's when I wrote all those banjo tunes that we're now going to go record at the end of the year. But I really miss playing bluegrass in that setting, where I tell people all the time, like, there's no place you could go other than a bluegrass festival where you go to a concert and everybody in the audience brought their instrument. And they're playing all over the place, in the parking lot, just everywhere. And it's such a beautiful way to learn to play music, not in school, but just by doing it. And you sit there and you play rhythm, and the guy who's better is going to take all the solos. But You're not excluded.
Yeah, I'm the rhythm guy.
No, get out of here, man. We done played together, you know.
Well, you know, Jerry, the whole culture of taping around the dead came directly from bluegrass. Because he went to all the bluegrass festivals, followed Bill Monroe around.
Yeah.
And everybody taped at bluegrass festivals.
Yeah,
So he thought that was what was normal.
See?
So the whole culture around taping comes from bluegrass.
See, I'm glad. This is one of those things where I say all the time, I'm glad I lived long enough to learn that. You know? Because I wouldn't have known that before today. And that's really cool, because that's a huge part of our culture, of the Grateful Dead culture.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. Well, I've got a live recording of our set with opening for Ralph Stanley.
You got to send me that, dude. I want to hear it. Yeah, for sure.
It's good to see you, man.
We got the light here to wrap up, but here, let's do like maybe one
more.